To be says. So, is it possible to be innocent in prison? That is the whole thing we're going to be talking about in this little segment here today. I'm going to argue that it is. If you're a regular viewer, you've heard me mention that those in prison are actually innocent. Now, what I'm saying is that they are there, of course, for a reason. But once they walk through that door of this prison, that is when their absolution actually begins. The thought with prison is, after all, that the time spent in is that once you walk out, you are a free individual. No more payment is required. And so they're actually done paying for their crimes once they walk. So, staying with that analogy, of course, means that if one pays for something, then once paid, their debt is officially satisfied. Would everybody agree with that? It's a simple premise. Last I looked, prison and the criminal justice system is not a subscription based service like Office 365 has become, or your favorite streamer, or anything else that they try to make us pay every single month for. This is not what prison is. When you walk out of prison, you have made your payment in full. That is, and was to be, your payment. This is, of course, if you're not on parole. Otherwise, though, you've made all your payments to society when you walk out. So again, when you walk into prison, and I know I keep repeating this is when you have made your payment, your first payment, and as you move towards the end of your time, you've made all your payments once again in full, and you are absolved of your crimes. Yes, sure, people are still going to be pissed off, and if you have victims, especially very severe and horrific victims, this will be an issue. But for the most part, when you are released for drug crimes, property crimes, crimes with no victim other than yourself, you should not be paying any longer when you walk out. So, is this ever going to be true if you are harmed by the system that is supposed to be your absolution? Some other things regarding prison. Those incarcerated should be considered to be compromised individuals. So, what does that mean? A compromised individual is somebody who cannot make decisions for themselves without help or guidance. Of course, we're speaking about adults, and if you want to assign adult capability to those incarcerated, we want to, but keep this in mind. Are those who are incarcerated, how are their thinking skills? Obviously, they're not the best, or they would not be there. Another way to look at it is incarcerated individuals are like minor children. In both instances, compromised individuals and children, that population is by law innocent. Children can't enter into contracts. Children can't have sex. Children can't drive a car. This all lines up with people who are in prison. So both children and compromised adults they're both innocent. So it's laughable, of course, to presume that individuals coming into prison will just magically begin making better choices and decisions, right? So, yes, rules are explained to the population, but again, they're not there because they grasp how things work. Because they do not understand how rules work, how expectations work, how goal setting works, then it is even more important that those who are managing this population of compromised individuals, adults, and children, it's even more important that people who are doing this managing of this specialized population are good examples. In other words, that staff within the prison system are good models for the inmate population. When I say models, of course, I'm not talking about models that are going down Broadway or New York or Soho. We're talking about modeling a behavior. Under IDOC, this is not happening. In fact, what is happening under IDOC leadership is that IDOC staff is actually modeling criminal behavior. IDOC staff is modeling intimidation, bullying, harassment, and of course exploitation, and torture as well. IDOC actively denies the offenders their basic human rights. IDOC denies offenders their basic medical care. IDOC rapes their offenders. And IDOC works actively to suppress, intimidate, harass any witnesses. All things which we all know are criminal both in nature and by law. So let me ask you, what does somebody walking into prison learn when their models are as criminal or more criminal than those that they are being housed with? What do you expect? So, in order for there to be any true changes within the Idaho prison system and really prison systems throughout the nation, we need to change the whole paradigm. That means higher education for staff, which means also higher pay. This means zero tolerance for what has been happening. People within IDOC prison systems are dying because of staff. People within the IDOC prison system are dying because of staff. It's worth mentioning twice. So, the last piece of information I want to leave you with this is to more clearly say just why the offenders are innocent. It is simple. Offenders in prison have zero rights within prison. And within IDOC, the leadership actually works to suppress any voice that they actually may have. IDOC offenders nationwide, wake up when they are told. They go to eat when they are told. They use the bathroom when they are told. They exercise when they are told. Go to school when they are told. They literally are not allowed to do anything other than what they are told. Does this sound like an environment where we can create an activated individual who is able to make their own decisions in a productive and positive manner? No, it's not. And if they're getting bad models on top of all that, because they have no freedom of choice, then what do we as a society expect? They are innocents in prison. They are all innocent in prison. This is B Says. Thank you for watching today. Please like and subscribe.